what about your character did you connect the most with, and when you first started playing that role, and what was most foreign to you about the character?
I play Erin on The Office, and what I connected to most was she asks a lot of stupid questions and is sort of doesn't have a lot of street smarts, and I connected to that. And what I didn't connect to, yes. No, that's your cue. I'm very smart in the streets. Okay. And what I didn't connect to, what didn't I connect to? I don't know. I didn't connect to having a regular job on a TV show, but that's not a character trait. I guess what didn't I connect to? I connected to pretty much everything about Erin. I didn't connect to not having parents. She doesn't have parents. I mean, she finds them in the end. Spoiler alert. Guys, I know. Okay. That's my answer.
And Anna?
Okay. What I connect to the most with Amy is her need to be on top of things all the time. I have that about me where I don't like things to go wrong on my watch, and she's very much like that, but in more of an extreme than even me. I think what's most foreign was actually having to be. She's the boss, like she's kind of young for that job. She's the boss of that entire staff. She does the hiring and the firing, and I haven't been in that position yet. So kind of wrapping my head around how I could understand being in that kind of position of power was fun.
So you're filing away things for future reference.
Indeed. Oh yes, I'm learning a ton.
Busy?
Well, for me, I have to say, just quite honestly, there wasn't a lot that I connected to on a real deep personal level with Laurie Keller. In fact, when you do these like panels with your cast and everybody asks the question, who's most like their character and who's least like their character, everyone sort of universally and thankfully says that I am least like my character. But I loved her because she was so much fun and she says the most ridiculous things. And so every week when I get my script, or the day of when I get my script in the makeup room, whatever. I'm always excited to see what insane story she has about almost dying and how I can make it different than the last one. I don't know.
Hannah?
I think the thing that most connected for me, because I remember when I read the pilot, was that my character was like a really good friend, but her approach is almost like veiled in violence. And I can relate to that a lot. Like, I thought that was great that she showed up to the house where these boys were there to be there for her girl and to terrify these men. I could relate to that on a personal level. I like that. I think the thing that's most dissimilar for me is that I'm a huge homebody, and my character likes to go out and party. And she had to deal with an arranged marriage, and I've never had to deal with that. So that was like a bit of a trip and a fertility crisis. She's had a lot of weird things happen this season that were all brand new to me.
Anna?
I'm Anna, and I play Sheila on Suburgatory. I'm nothing like Sheila Shea. I mean, there's literally nothing like me. But I know a lot of really intense Midwestern women who are who have a number of her qualities. And the one thing I think that surprised me about her, because I've actually, every character actress in the world has read for the Martha Stewart type across the street. So I was kind of bored by the idea until I actually realized that this was going to be a character that was very much about exploring the relationships in her family, in particular the dynamic with her daughter. She absolutely heroizes her son and is super embarrassed by her daughter. And I find all the family dynamics really fun, and the incredibly castrating relationship she has with every man she knows. But all kind of, I think what was surprising about that is that it comes from an incredibly loving place.
And Mayim?
I think the part of my character that I'm most related to, besides that she's a scientist, which I am also, I think there's kind of a lack of filter for this character, which Jim Parsons obviously established very well in creating Sheldon, and they really wanted a female Sheldon. That's what I was kind of hired to do. So kind of enjoying that. that lack of filter is something that really made sense to me. The character's very honest, honestly, sometimes to a fault, but that's something I really related to. And I think in terms of the challenges, I don't know if it's the character specifically, but being brought in to play the female version of a beloved character was very, very difficult because we don't need a clone of Jim Parsons. And so it was really kind of walking that fine line between doing kind of appropriate and respectful mimicry while also giving this character her own personality and her own flair, which I feel like really got to develop, more as the writers sort of, let me have some freedom with it too.
Several of you were not series regulars when your shows began, and is it a relief that you're not expected to sell the show right out of the gate, essentially?
Yep.
Definitely the latter. Yeah, I think it's a gift to be spared. Certainly the network testing process and all of that, rigmarole. Logistically, everyone will probably agree with that. But I think also I think you're just it's more of an organic relationship you've got with the writers, the writers' room, and the set, where you're just kind of doing your thing and it's working and people are writing to it, and it ends up being much more fun for everybody involved.
There's also a kind of a social adjustment period because people see the work that we do and they like it on television, and for those minutes they're happy with us. But there's a whole social dynamic to a show that has to develop, especially when people are added. So I think personally I agree. It's nice to not have that pressure of it sort of being on you, and the ratings are already where they need to be. It's not your problem. But I think also
your ratings are already where they need to be.
I know,
I
love how I agree.
I meant it made it that far to hire you, right?
Sure.
But I think in terms of the social dynamic, when you have any group of people, it's I say it's like entering high school after everyone's picked their lockers and who they're going to sit with at lunch. So.
Yeah.
For Ellie, for you?
I just had to add right. Yeah, I came on, it's in season 5 of The Office, so it was already well on its way. My main objective was just not to mess anything up.
Done a movie with Armando and kind of in the same style, and probably had a certain comfort level with him. I mean, can you describe how did that play into security on Veep, or how your performance
There
went?
definitely was that, and I go back to when we did the first rehearsals for In the Loop, which was the film that Arm and a lot of the writers and I all did together. And he gave this speech that he supposedly gave to all of the cast of The Thick of It, which is the show that they did in the UK. And he basically said, put all of the words we just described completely to bed. He was like, you guys are here for a reason, because I hired you. I know you can do this. It's going to feel really foreign. It's going to feel, because the process it's different. It's not what people are used to, especially in television, getting a lot of time to workshop an episode and all that. So he's like, this is going to feel really, really strange, but you shouldn't go home, call your manager and say they did the wrong thing by hiring me. You're here. I did it on purpose. For Veep, he gave the same speech, and I had heard it already, so I knew it was true. I knew that I could trust him, and that he was being completely honest, and that's the kind of leader he is, and that's what's amazing about working for him.
Have your shows had different styles of preparation than what you've been accustomed to in the past? Or, can you talk about what it's like getting ready, what the show style is getting ready for each episode?
Suburgatory's, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you?
I want to hear you
I feel
talk.
like you're about to say
I want to hear you
It's
talk.
not that interesting.
talk.
It's not that good. What I was going to say was just that, well, obviously vis-a-vis SNL, that's just like a massive, walking panic attack. So it's not, I don't need to take Ativan, so that's good. But no, Suburgatory is actually weird. Again, Emily's a high-functioning woman with children. She's got a lot to do. She does not want her writers there all night. She's as a showrunner goes, we never really get many pages at the last minute. And for a single camera, I think we're very fortunate. That is all new for me, having time to prepare, having time to spend, getting to know the script a little bit. Of course we change things on the set a little bit and stuff like that, but I never feel a high sense of panic, anger, fear, any kind of gastrointestinal response, which is nice. It's nice.
How much do you find out in advance, and how does that affect how you're playing? Because I have to, Cece is so trying to find herself in a sense. And is there a roadmap for you, or are you finding her just as she's trying to find herself? Like, what is it like?
Oh, there's no map. Yeah, there's no map. I don't know what planet we're on. I don't know what universe we're in half the time. It all comes from, Liz Merriweather's amazing mind. I don't ever really know what's going to happen at all. I still remember when I read that pilot and my character comes in and she, takes care of Jess and tells these guys to, go to hell. And then within 3 episodes, I'm in bed with Schmidt. And then I think I'm pregnant, and then there's a pregnancy scare, and then I was like, holy smoke-a-rollies. And then I came back this season, and I'm like, okay, I'm sure it's going to be a little more normal, find the things I can, connect to. And they're like, so you're not going to be able to have a baby, and there's going to be an arranged marriage. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea it's a little, it's amazing, though. That's the thing. It's a really exciting thing. We know nothing until we read the table read, usually, and then what shows up to us Monday morning in the makeup trailer is usually something a little different than that.
What gets you most excited, I guess?
I get most excited to play funny moments because I think that is the most fun for me personally to play. I don't know if you ladies feel the same, but I think that those emotional moments are much more challenging for me personally. Again, everyone does it very well. I don't know how much you enjoy them, but I think that it's I don't know. That is more challenging for me because it is not something I think that comes as easily.
Mayim, how about you? You have some great funny moments, but also again this season, some real tender and really kind of serious stuff with Sheldon as the season progressed. I mean, how would you compare the experiences as an actress playing those?
I think this was really kind of the year of relationship development, on The Big Bang Theory, as much as I guess you could call it anything. Steve Milaro has been our showrunner now, and he's really brought a lot of that kind of more complexity to especially the main relationships, the kind of couples. I'm a hired actor, and I will do whatever's on the page, and I think it all connects together. We shoot in front of a live audience, which is a very, very unusual kind of way to have our kind of show unfold. We can play stuff all week that we think is funny and that our writers think is funny, and if the 300 people sitting there don't think it's funny, it is rewritten, And same thing with the emotional stuff. Jim and I will often work on, especially the more kind of intimate moments for our characters, and even like the spanking episode, which is very intimate. I mean, for me and Jim to have our relationship kind of honestly that public, for our characters. There's stuff that we'll kind of sit on all week, and we feel it's working, or we're really connecting on it. But again, if the audience isn't feeling it and we're not kind of getting that, it has to change. And I think that's a really kind of amazing part, of working in front of an audience.
I think live audiences keep you so authentic. I mean, especially in television, because it's free. I mean, I guess not if you have HBO, but it's that's the access point is so available, and
yeah, it's more like it's like small theater,
Yeah. They actually do have a voice in it, the audience,
Yep.
because it's theirs, it's in their house.
And they change the timing. So all those things, all those beats, especially in emotionally heavy scenes, all the beats that you think will ride, sometimes the audience needs a breath, and you have to give it.
Are you able to appreciate what you have in the moment, or is it something that you appreciate best when it's over, do you think?
When you're blessed to be able to work on a show that you love, that you watch, that your husband wants to watch, he actually watches it on his own sometimes and tells me oh, I watched it again and this and that. I'm like, oh, it's everything you sign up for as an actor, and you hope that it'll be possible. And so, yeah, every day is just terrific.
I feel the exact same way about Suburgatory. It's we finished our second season, and usually that's when sort of the milk starts to sour ever so slightly in the makeup trailer or whatever. And every single. I mean, I commute from New York City, and I fly back and forth, and Chris Parnell is my husband. Everything that's happened, that's come down the pike, everything has been better than the last.
It's not something I ever take for granted, and also it's fun to be on a big ensemble. It's kind of becomes your social world, and all the relationships you get to have offset really does, I think, make for the acting to be richer and more interesting. So.
Ellie, now that you have a little distance between the finale and the end of The Office, how do you feel have you processed it yet?
I feel like I came on, the show was halfway through the end of season 5, and I just totally hit the jackpot because I was on this, I loved the show, so it was beloved by me, but also by a lot of other people, and I feel like completely hit the jackpot, and now I'm sort of realizing, oh, wait a second, it doesn't always work that way. You can't join a TV show 5 seasons in and then be on the air for 4 seasons and then you go to the next. So it's a little dose of reality, but you've given me hope with your inspiration that you can find the magic again.
Yes.
But I think it's an incredibly rare thing, and we're all incredibly lucky ladies.